The rain had started suddenly, heavy and relentless, turning the highway into a silver blur. Grace Carter, a respected attorney known for her composure, gripped the steering wheel of her silver SUV, her heart racing as the car wobbled slightly. She pulled over, and when she stepped out, she saw the problem. A flat tire hissing out its last breath beneath the downpour. Grace brushed back her wet hair, looking at the empty stretch of road. No signal, no help in sight. She opened the trunk, found the spare, and knelt to change it. But the bolts wouldn't budge. Her designer heels slipped in the mud. Her hands trembled from the cold, and frustration burned behind her tired eyes. She had faced courtroom storms fiercer than this. Yet now, stranded in the rain, she felt helpless. Thunder cracked overhead as tears mixed with the raindrops on her cheeks. She had left the city in a hurry, hoping a drive would clear her head after a morning filled with painful decisions. One of them was a custody case of a single father struggling with neglect accusations. She'd seen hundreds like him before, pleading, promising, praying. Yet, her duty was the law. Justice didn't bend for emotion, or so she told herself. Then, from the distance, headlights cut through the rain. A beat-up old pickup truck slowed down and stopped behind her. A man stepped out, his jacket soaked, boots worn, yet his face carried a quiet strength. He looked like someone life had tested but not broken. "Need a hand, ma'am?" he called out through the rain, his voice steady but gentle. Before the story unfolds, take a second to remember that kindness still matters. If you believe in second chances and compassion, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Timeless Tales by Dora. Because stories like this remind us that good hearts still shine in a storm. Grace hesitated for a moment, unsure whether to trust a stranger, but something in his tone made her nod. "Yes, please," she replied. "The tire's stuck. I can't loosen it." The man smiled faintly. "Let me take a look." He knelt beside the tire, his hands steady despite the cold. "I'm Jack Hughes," he said, not looking up as he worked. "You're lucky I carry my own wrench. These factory ones are useless." Grace watched him closely. His clothes were simple, his truck old, but there was an honesty in his movements. Careful, methodical, respectful. In minutes, he had the tire changed. He stood, wiping rain from his face, and gave her a reassuring smile. "You're all set," he said. "Try not to drive too fast. The roads get slick this time of year." Grace exhaled, relief washing over her. "Thank you," she said softly. "You just saved me from a very long walk." He shrugged. "No trouble at all. I'm used to fixing things. My little boy says I can fix anything except pancakes," he added with a small laugh. That made her smile. "You have a son?" "Yeah," he said, his eyes lighting up. "Lucas, 7 years old. Smartest kid I know. He's my whole world." Grace felt something tighten in her chest. "You must be a good father." Jack's smile dimmed a little. "I try," he said quietly. "But sometimes trying doesn't seem enough." She sensed pain behind his words, but before she could ask more, he waved politely and turned to leave. "Take care now, ma'am. Stay safe out there." As he drove away, Grace stood motionless in the rain, her thoughts tangled. There was something hauntingly familiar in his name. She couldn't place it until the next morning when she stepped into her courtroom and saw him again. Jack Hughes, the man who'd helped her in the rain. He was the father from the custody case. The shock hit her like a jolt of lightning. Her heart sank as she looked down at the file before her. The social worker's report painted a grim picture. Low income, long working hours, missed school appointments. But what the papers didn't show was the man she'd seen kneeling in the rain to help a stranger with no expectation of reward. Jack stood before her, his hands clasped nervously. He looked exhausted, wearing the same worn-out jacket, but his voice was calm when he spoke. "Your Honor, I'm doing my best for my son. I work 2 jobs, and I make sure he's cared for. I know I'm not perfect, but I'll never stop fighting for him." Grace listened silently, her mind racing. In that moment, she saw not a defendant, but a father, one who would brave any storm for his child. The image of him standing in the rain replayed in her mind, and for the first time in years, she felt the line between law and mercy blur. After reviewing the evidence, she spoke gently but firmly. "Mr. Hughes, while this court acknowledges the concerns raised, it also recognizes the effort you've made to provide a stable, loving environment for your son. Therefore, the case is dismissed under the condition that you participate in the family support program offered by the county." Jack's eyes widened. His voice broke as he whispered, "Thank you." Thank you so much. Grace gave a small nod, struggling to maintain her composure. Take care of him, Mr. Hughes. He's lucky to have you. When he left the courtroom, relief and gratitude pouring off him like sunlight after a storm, Grace sat still for a long time. That night, as she drove home under clear skies, she thought about how fate had woven their paths together. The man she might have judged harshly on paper had shown her more integrity than most people she'd ever met. A week later, Jack received a letter in the mail. It was from Judge Grace Carter. Inside, a simple note read, "Dear Jack, the day you helped me in the rain reminded me that true character shows when no one is watching. You taught me that kindness is a law the world should never forget. Enclosed is a contact for a community job program. I hope it opens doors for you and Lucas." Grace. Jack sat at his small kitchen table, reading the letter over and over, tears blurring his vision. Lucas ran up to him, tugging his sleeve. "Daddy, why are you crying?" He hugged her tightly and smiled. "Because, sweetheart, someone up there decided to give us a second chance." From that day on, life began to change. Jack got a steady job at a local repair center through that program. He no longer worried about rent or groceries. Evenings were spent making pancakes with Lucas. Ones she always burned, but he never complained. And sometimes, when the rain would fall softly against their window, he'd look outside and smile, remembering the stranger who taught him that even when life feels unfair, goodness has a way of finding its way.